And you are looking live at the world's greatest virtual race course for day 3 of the Acres Lawn Services Practice Week. And today at the 500, sponsored by Oil and Gas Safety Supply, I am Gary Gotzo. This is P1 Broadcasting as we continue our preparations for Swift Penguins Creations Qualification Weekend for the world's greatest sim race, the PRI Hoosier 500. Another beautiful day in the sim in Indianapolis, another cold day in real life here, as we are in the middle of day 3 and our preparations to get to Fast Friday and the weekend of qualifications. See who will get the fastest 33 of the 128 people who have registered to participate in this event. Watching on the racetrack, one of the heavy hitters and a driver that we need to watch as this week and month progresses, and that is Adam Blocker, as he decides to do a little parallel parking on the backstretch. Here are your weather conditions as bringing on Casey Povolonis, third on the speed chart tonight. As always, joining me in the booth, and actually one of Adam's teammates is Andrew Wood, the Catalyst. Andrew, how's the heat in the house?
Yeah, it's a lot better now than it was about 5 minutes ago. We're always trying to conserve a little bit of energy around here. So I came home, the heat was blasting. I said, you know what, I'm turning this off for a little bit. It's nice and warm in here, but I'm going to be sitting here with you, Gary, for about an hour or so. And I'm like, you know what, let's make this place a little bit warm. So I'm glad you did the little call out there. But yeah, we're here at Indianapolis tonight. You know, last night was kind of the feeling of, okay, we're back in Indianapolis. We're just kind of in the swing of things. But in the last 24 hours, I started to actually feel the emotion and the passion, especially when we were doing those interviews. It didn't hit me initially, but we're starting to see now that these guys are ready to go. There's been so much prep, so much just anticipation and everything. And as you can see by, as you mentioned, Adam Blocker's in here, there are some teams that maybe doing some private testing, finding a few things they want to play around with. And this is the session to do it, especially, you know, like you don't see a lot of these big groups out there right now doing the racing. We might see that a little bit later in the hour. But for now, we're trying to figure out what works best on our car. And if there's some stuff you want to test or some stuff you want to play with, or in the back of your mind, you're driving to work or you're sitting around saying, man, what if I put a wicker on, or I add another bit of front wing to my car? It's okay. I'll wait till the session comes tonight, go out there and run a few laps. So I definitely feel like I'm in the spirit now. I wasn't in the spirit so much last night, but I'm in the spirit now of saying we're back at Indy again, even though it's December 3rd.
Jordan Owens on the top of the list today, the former two-time front row sitter for the Elite Racing League's Indy 500, someone you've actually raced against in the Elite Racing League's Indy 500 here, Andrew. He is currently at the top of the charts right now to 229.2. Noah Carmichael, who we talked to last night, he's second on the charts right now. He is cracked into the 229 bracket. And then Casey Povolonis, currently third. Ricky Paz in fourth. We've seen Ricky in the upper portions of the top 10 a couple times already this month. He is now fourth fastest. And a name that we haven't seen often, but we should not look twice when we look past, should not look past his name at all, is Chris Stouffer. That's someone that you've raced against an awful lot, Andrew. Talk about racing Chris Stouffer and seeing him fifth fastest. We know him normally as one of those guys that shows up for race day, but to have pace already on 3 days into the week, normally he's about a mid-pack starter, but always races up to the front very well. Having Chris Stouffer start up front, it's not a good sign for everybody else racing in this thing.
Oh man, you're gonna have me talk about Chris Stouffer, huh? So yeah, I've been attending the Indy 500, the real life Indy 500, for over 10 years now, and I've met Chris Stouffer. That's the one time I get to see him every year. We do a meetup on Sunday morning at the Pagoda. I could tell that Stouffer has a lot of passion for this race as a whole. He's an Indiana native, so that kind of goes without saying, really. But when it comes to the sim racing world, Indy is one of those places where Stouffer will not be afraid to do a little bit of a different strategy to try and get himself towards the front. So Stouffer out practicing right now that just shows me that he has a car he wants to play around with a little bit, see how the car reacts on the north side of the track, south side of the track, and he's going to try a few tweaks here and there. But I think ultimately what he's looking for is for a nice group to go out there so he can follow them and figure out what the dirty air situation is going to be, especially with how the conditions are right now. So I think Stouffer being here tonight is a pretty big deal, and he has some time to play around with some stuff, and that can only mean bad things for the rest of the field.
And I call him the Pocono Whisperer. He is darn near unbeatable in an IR18
Pocono Whisperer, indeed.
Pocono.
Yes. Pocono and Michigan. Don't forget Michigan.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes, for sure. For sure. One car out on the racetrack right now. It is Jacob Oster from I5G. So I5G making an appearance on the racetrack for the first time. The Worm Man on the north end of the racetrack, just kind of cruising around. He'll probably be joined by Adam Blocker here very shortly.
Yeah, there's probably a little bit of a co-opetition going on right now, saying, okay, let's just get on the track together and see what we can do. Either that, or he's trying to practice for a Q run, which we were talking about briefly last night. Some of these guys may be going out there to do the final tweaks on their Q setup, and Jacob had thought that maybe he had caught someone towards the end of his run there. Someone's coming out of the pits right now, actually, that it doesn't really hinder him too much, but
it's Adam.
Just try and find the best. Yeah, it is Adam. So just trying to find the best spot on the track possible, and we'll see if he's going for a Q run. I'm sure you can tell by his lap times if it's a Q run or just trying to figure something out for the race run. But yeah, Jacob Oster and Adam Blocker being out right now is definitely something that we want to see up here as part of watching this YouTube stream.
Someone that's on one of those super teams, and I know to a degree Power Slide and a private label team Hype now, of course, as a mega squad. And to a degree, you kind of during the non-Indy 500 weeks in May, that's about the only time I know when your guys' gloves really come off. But during the rest of the calendar year, I think you guys work pretty well with I5G. Really is the only time of the year when the gloves comes off with some of this cooperative and cooperation, as you were talking about. Is it really May and these big races that when the gloves finally come off and it's like, I'm not sharing every secret I have with you guys?
You know, it's tough to tell, really. There's a lot of ebb and flow, and a lot of it has to do with trying to make sure that this community is sustainable and showing that you can get consistent guys that show up to all these races every week. So overall, I think you're onto something there. There is a lot of co-opetition in the non-Indy weeks. But at the same time, there are certain tracks where these teams each feel like they have some sort of advantage over another one. So I think that there is still a little bit of secretive hanging off. Maybe the I5G guys, I'll use an example. Perhaps they're better at big ovals, and Power Slide guys are better at. Yeah, that's a qualifying run. I'm afraid Gary, he did 4 laps there, and he's like, all right, I'm done. But yeah, no, like you have one team that might be good at big ovals, one team that might be good at short ovals. You have one team that might be good at natural road courses, one team that might have something for the street circuits that are a little more bumpy. So there is some co-opetition, and people move teams all the time. So
yeah,
some people that might have some expertise in one area finds himself on another team. That helps that team in that aspect of racing a little bit. But overall, I think you can be certain of one thing, that everybody is very, very quiet at Indy. Not like they're trying to find an advantage somewhere sneakily, like a setup somewhere that maybe leaked or something like that. That's happened before. But overall, everyone's trying to make sure that they have some sort of advantage on some kind of track-specific circuit.
Yeah, and I can see definitely the state secrets being even more heavy here at Indianapolis. We have a new driver at the top of the charts. Adam Blocker goes to the top with a 2:29.9. It might have been a little draft aided. He was in the draft envelope of about a second and a half behind Jacob Oster and got a little bit of a run. He moves up to the top. Owens now second with a 229.2. Carmichael back to third with a 229 flat. Casey Povolonis, we just saw him take a spin off of turn 2 to 228.5, and Ricky Paz with a 228.9. Those are VRL teammates in fourth and fifth. Now on the racetrack, we have a real-world race car driver in Presley Sora from the ARCA Series. And he is now in turn 1. And you raced against Presley in the Elite Racing League. He started on the front row here at Indianapolis in the Elite Racing League before. Talk about racing Presley Sora. You raced him a number of times.
Oh, man, Gary, you're putting me on the spot with racing individuals. First, Jordan Owens, which I casually just blocked. Nah, Jordan is great. I actually had, you were speaking about Pocono with Chris Soper before. I had a great race with Jordan at Pocono. It was kind of almost a gap battle of sorts. I was on one strategy, he was on another. We really had the same pace at one part in the race, and we were passing each other, but we kind of went differing ways. And that's kind of when probably he and I started to realize each other's ability in that series. And actually, I learned after that Pocono race that we have a mutual friend that he was relaying a bunch of information to afterwards. And I got information saying, oh, you're racing Jordan and he beat you at Pocono. I said, okay, well, we're going to have to do that. So that was a constant sort of battle all season. Not really a battle, but just a little interesting nugget. And yeah, Jordan's a really great guy to race against. He's a little bit aggressive, and I could be aggressive in my own aspect. So our aggressiveness never really came together so much, which is a good thing, especially if we have a mutual friend that's in the picture. But yeah, Jordan is definitely going to be a factor here at Indianapolis. But back to Presley. To be honest, I never really had a lot of on-track action with Presley in my elite career. I had a couple races where I was nearby with him. I don't think I've ever raced him side by side or did anything like that where I have seen his ability be better or worse than mine. But it's great to see. And as you mentioned earlier in this broadcast, we have these elite guys that are racing in this 500, probably brought over by Chad, who runs the Elite Series. So Chad has
There's a lot of crossover, yeah.
Chad's brought a contingent of folks that are here to cement themselves in Indy 500 history, especially with the history and legacy of this Hoosier 500. And
then, of course, if you want to race Presley Sora, you could race him in the Elite Racing League in their IndyCar series. You can also race him in the NASCAR game. He's one of the drivers in the NASCAR console game that you can get now online.
Oh, very famous.
Yeah, so he's getting some royalties from that. I'm guessing he's getting some royalties from that. Jacob Oster up to fifth fastest on the charts. He put in a lap at a 2:28.9. In fact, at an exact same time as Ricky Paz, a 2:28.909. Identical, at least to 3 decimal spots there on the speed chart. So we got some drivers showing up for happy hour. Hey, if you enjoy P1's coverage of today at the 500 and Acres Lawn Services practice week, day 3, and you respect the stream, please do us a solid. Make sure you support us by subscribing. And while you're at it, don't forget to smash like and click the bell so you'll miss out on future P1 iRacing broadcasts. As on the racetrack right now, Ricky Paz trying to get that lap back as he has Casey Pahutsky, excuse me. That is Casey Pahutsky in the wall right in front of him.
I'm watching Jacob Oster is doing another qualifying run right now, it looks like. He's running by himself. Yep. Yeah, he goes into turn 1, and that's
now he's going into the road course.
4 laps. So, so kind of what we were talking about last night, Gary, is that there's different stuff that people are on the track for right now to figure out. They want to figure out a race set, or they want to figure out a qualifying set. And we're still early enough in the week that qualifying is what's most important right now to make this race, especially as we were talking to both Greg and Noah last night about the qualifying session. They both had actually very differing views of what the time is going to need to be to get in there. So I would imagine that if it were some guys that feel like they're on the bubble, they might want to watch some of these guys that they know are on big teams and watch their lap times. Now, some of these guys may be trying to sandbag a little bit and say, okay, I'll do a little lift in, I don't know, turn 3 or something like that. That doesn't give my true speed. one of the corners is very inconsequential. I'm going to put stuff in people's head right now saying that they're going to sandbag a bit. But it's also possible that at some point, these drivers need to practice what their full qualifying session is going to be. So you watch someone like Jacob, who's been out twice now, doing what seems to be a Q run as 4 laps at a time. So it could be just a good benchmark to put yourself at and say, okay, I want to make my first lap X. I want to make my second lap X, and watch what the fall off is. And if your fall off is about the same as what these guys are doing, maybe you're on the right track, and then make a few tweaks from there and see where it leads you.
Let's take a moment, because we got about 10 minutes here before we will be joined in the booth by Michael Connolly, head of business memberships for the precision racing industry, performance racing industry, excuse me, the PRI. I'm sorry, I had precision on the mind. We were talking about another driver earlier, and they were talking about running in the precision racing league, and that's what's on my mind. Sorry. But the performance racing industry, of course, their show is next week, so we'll want to talk to him about their show down at the convention center here in Indianapolis and Lucas Oil Stadium. But we have a few minutes. Let's bring someone up into the booth. We do have a driver standing by. That is Shane Coker, who is in the lounge. We'll bring him on up here and unmute him and welcome him to the booth as Adam Blocker goes purple again with a 2:31.1. Let's get our camera on him. He has wisely decided to pull it off to the side and get out of the session after throwing a lap like that down. But 2:31.1 now top of the charts for Adam Blocker. Joining us in the booth is the admin of the Votive Racing League, Shane Coker, currently now 10th on the timing sheets with a speed of 2:28.8. 3 days into practice, Shane, how's it feeling for you? Do you think you got the pace to make the field of 33?
Hey guys.
Hey.
How's it going?
Good.
Yeah, I think pace-wise, I don't know that I'm gonna give it a good run. I'm gonna give it a shot. I've actually just tried to enjoy the whole experience so far more than anything. A lot of people are very, staying away from the public practices and keeping the cards close to their chest. And I told my team, like, let's just go out and have fun. Throw some laps down, see where we are, and have fun with it. And I think that's what we've done. And I couldn't be more happier with what Casey's done. I think we do have a good shot at getting at least far into the show.
Yeah, Shane, this is your debut at the Hoosier 500, the kind of the Open Wheels 500 reincarnation sort of thing. And, running a league and doing everything like that to get more guys interested in this car. I'm sure that's really what brought you into this, and bringing a lot of guys that race in the Votive Racing League itself into here. And it's really actually great to hear you say the attitude of, I'm just here to have fun and have the experience, because something like that actually may translate to something in terms of speed and something that you have going for a qualifying session, especially working with a group of guys. Like I was mentioning last night, sometimes having a group of guys around you that may have some idea to do something with the setup may bring you a little bit closer to perhaps being just into the field or out of the field. And if you give it your all and you run that perfect run, it may get you in there. Is there something that maybe you're working on in terms of how the car handles to nail all 16 corners, the 4 laps of the qualifying session?
For me right now, I think you guys have kind of seen it a little bit in practice. I'm trying to nail lap 1. You got to start with the foundation, which is lap 1. That's what builds your entire run out. From there, I feel like I've got a good chance to hit most of the corners, but yeah, we Casey and I, we came here and we did a couple of changes, and we've made it a little bit smoother, a little faster, and that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to take advantage of this time that the Hoosier 500 has allotted us, and so we'll see where we're at come Q Day. Like I said, Mason, our other teammate, Mason Mitchum, he's been cards to the chest himself, so we haven't really got to see what he can do yet. So everyone's got a little different attitude with how they want to approach it here on the team, and that's absolutely fine. So I'm having a blast though, going out there running laps and running with some of the best people on the service. We got pros in the top 5 right now. You don't get to race with those guys every day, and so I'm just trying to take it back and enjoy it.
I think the best thing actually, Shane, is what you're saying. Just have a great attitude about it. Realize where you're at and try and make the best of it. And sometimes even that little bit of positive attitude just clears your mind, and it's able to get you a better opportunity to say, I'm going to nail this qualifying session. And if I get in by like a 0.052 or something like that at the back of the field, and that gets you in, that makes you feel even better in the end. So I mean, as we talked about yesterday, I'm not the fastest person on my team, but sometimes if you just clear your head and say, I'm going to run the best session I've done yet, it's gotten me into this field in the past. So keep that up, and we'll see what happens for you. Anything else you want to say to that?
No, I agree completely with what you got to say. If you guys don't have anything else, I'll let you get back to it. I know you got an interview coming up.
Before we let you go, any shout-outs, friends, family, sponsors, the league, anyone you want to say shout-out to, let everyone know while we got you here?
Yeah, we got our own big race coming up, but I'm not here to plug it today. I'm here to just enjoy the whole Hoosier 500 experience, and this is their time of the year, and I want them, to get the grace they deserve. So thank you to everyone who runs the Hoosier 500, and our team is looking forward to continue having fun throughout the whole experience.
All right, Shay Coker currently 10th on the speed charts today with a speed of a 228.8, looking to get a little bit more performance out of his car before getting into Swift Penguin Creations qualifications weekend here on Saturday and Sunday. Good luck. We'll catch you then.
Take care, guys.
And Andrew, Adam Blocker went faster while we were in the middle of that interview, a 2:31.196. Again, not knowing if he's draft aided or not. I think that might have been draft unaided. And if that's the case, your guys' squad has brought their A game, as we fully come to expect, as we now ride with Jacob Oster, who's going to try to put down maybe a lap to equal that of Adams.
I think one of these things that's happening right now is that there's still testing going on. If I know anything about Adam Blocker, he has ideas. He wants to try things out. Maybe something felt really good. And again, I think we're looking at single lap best laps right now.
Single lap, yes.
Everybody can go fast on one lap, but can the adjustments that Blocker and or Oster, that's running right now at sessions, hold for the whole 4 laps? And that's kind of what I was trying to make clear to Coker in that interview there, was saying, okay, so maybe your speed's not great on a certain lap, but if you can keep the car stable through all 4 laps and do a setup that keeps that car stable, whereas someone like a super team has a fallback on lap 4, if you keep that speed going, that could just slide you in right on the back end.
Jacob plows it into the turn 2 wall. He might have figured out we were watching him, and he decided he wanted to throw that through a little.
There's always a little bit of showmanship as Pinot Gary, so it doesn't surprise me.
But we'll get back on the racetrack. Noah Carmichael, third fastest, is now back on the racetrack. Casey Povolonis also out there just in front of Ty Quilla, who's second fastest for the month still. The combined sheets from yesterday has him second fastest at a 2:31.273, which is just a tick faster than Blocker's 2:31.196. Do you think that it's going to take a 2:31 opening lap, a 2:30 plus opening lap to really guarantee yourself a good solid run? I know you talked about it's 4 laps and 16 corners and 10 miles and all the good stuff. But the opening lap, really, with the way we've seen with the Elite Racing League and other series when they do qualifying, the opening lap really means a lot with these cars and these tires.
There's definitely a strategy to running all 4 laps. There's a mission all 4 of the laps that you run, and that's something that that I've learned over running the official iRacing 500 a bunch of times. And actually Tanner, that was talking with us earlier, gave me so many good tips as being someone who's been so successful at this track, and shout out to him for all he's doing with this race and everything. And the lap one speed is very important. You want to make sure that you don't scrub the tires so much, but you also have to heat the tires up at the same time. That's a free tip to all out there. It's very hard to do, and well, I should say it's easy to do, but it's hard to do it to perfection where it saves your tires for all 4 runs. But it makes sense, right? You want to heat the tires up in a certain way that gets your car to turn and do everything that it wants to do for all 4 laps. But there is a tipping point, and it's very hard to figure out what that actual key is. So to answer your question, yes, it's very, very difficult to nail lap 1. Lap 1 is very important because it sets the tone for the following 3 laps afterwards.
All right, we are going to be joined here by Michael Conley, head of business memberships for Performance Racing Industry, here really quick. But I do want to remind everybody that if you are enjoying the coverage of today and PON's coverage of the PRI Hoosier 500 and day 3 of practice, it's today at the 500, again, do us a solid. Make sure you support us by subscribing to the channel and also giving us sharing, liking, everything you could do to get this out here and help the algorithm. We certainly would appreciate that. We want to thank our sponsors as well. Of course, Performance Racing Industry. We will talk about them at length here in just a little bit. Acres Lawn Services, who Jordan Owens is the head of, and he is currently 3rd now on the speed charts. Oil and Gas Safety Supply, that's sponsoring today's coverage all week long. Swift Penguin Creations, who will be sponsoring qualifications weekend. Check out their line of creations that they have to offer at swiftpenguincreations.com. You can find them in the description as well. And also want to thank New Track Record Podcast and Superior at superior.com and their line of sim racing gear. Let's bring up Mike into the booth. He is here. Let's unmute him. And now he should be available to talk to us. There he is. I see him unmute. Joining us in the booth is Michael Conley, head of business memberships for Performance Racing Industry. Welcome to the show. And again, thank you guys very much for being such integral organization into being a part of the Hoosier 500. And getting into sim racing is a little bit different, but let's talk about what you do with PRI. Talk about PRI and the upcoming show you have going on here. And then how did you get turned on to the Hoosier 500? You should be unmuted.
How about now?
There you are.
There we go.
Crystal clear.
So many mute buttons going on this side. Thanks for having me. Thanks for the awesome intro and insight to those that are watching to what PRI is. So a little bit about myself. I oversee our business membership program here at PRI, and also any customer care for our individual members out there. So individual membership is bursting at just over 28,000 members, and our business memberships just soared past 860 business members. So it's kicking off right before the show, which, like you said, is next week. That takes place here in downtown Indianapolis. And for those of you that don't know, it's exclusively racing, exclusively trade. Over 1,060 brands that are at the show, at approximately $70 million that is the economic impact here in Indianapolis. But so that's a quick snippet into the PRI show. But then, yeah, the Hoosier 500. I've been friends with Brian, one of the co-owners, for pretty much all my life. We grew up together, and then he's kind of what got me into the racing. Him and another friend, I believe, who's racing in this event, Hunter Smith, kind of got me into the racing scene and involved in it. And one thing led to another. Now we're both grown-ups, and we're able to partner together on this awesome event. So
let's talk about the show coming up next week. I kind of was involved in a very similar show when I used to work for the National Future Farmers Association of America.
Okay.
So they had a big show every year down in Louisville, and I know these big trade shows. It's just a ton of time. You're on your feet all day. You're doing more than your standard 9 to 5. You're there all day. You're shaking hands. You're saying hi to everybody. What all will you be involved with when you're at the show, and how much? I mean, it's more than just a 9 to 5 for you when the show's in town. You're out there sticking out hands and business cards all week long, aren't you?
Oh yeah. It's more than a 9 to 5 for sure, but once you get on site that Monday, it flies by. It is nothing but fun. Everybody's there. The racing season for most is essentially over, so it's a time to come together, do business. But on site, I managed our business member lounges that we have for our founding members and business members, or place for them to relax. But then also I assist with registering, make sure people are getting in. And then all of our exhibiting business members, I'll make sure that they're set and good to go. But on site, kind of how PRI can correlate in with the Hoosier 500 is our sim arena on site has been booming since we brought it in. I believe it was 2 years ago. Each year it's just gotten bigger and bigger. SRO is a huge part in that. They sponsor our sim arena, and there's live racing going on. The latest and greatest in sim tech is there. So it's the sim has become an integral part of the show over the past 3 years.
I'm curious to hear exactly what your sim racing history is like. You were mentioning that some guys brought you into this to give your hand at how this race is going to go and everything like that. Like what exactly have you been doing with Indianapolis 500? Have you done any 500-mile races before? Or is this your first time trying to play around with different settings and work with a group of people to try and get into a race? What's your background like there?
So, great question. The sim side of things, very limited. They have been into racing since way before I was, and they are the true racers out of us three. I am more of the watcher. I am going to enjoy it from the sidelines, sit back and watch. If it comes to any kind of virtual things, it's going to be gaming in the sense of like Call of Duty and that side. I am not the driver, but it definitely intrigues me, and I know that if I got one for myself, I could get lost in it. From the short experiences. We sit next to Delara here in Indianapolis. They're right next to us. Our building's right next to them, and they have an awesome sim arena themselves. And so we got to go over there twice so far, and the sims themselves, it feels like you're driving. So I see the appeal. I just haven't had the time to splurge on one myself.
I think that there's actually a better answer to that question. And if you're a watcher, you're a watcher. You're a spotter. And
Yep.
if you can watch out for your friends and say, hey, like this car is a little bit squirrely, or this car is not really able to hang on with the pack, or do something that could be beneficial to your teammates that do make it in, that's just as important. Trust me, I'm a commentator, I'm a spotter, and I'm a racer, and I've done everything before. And sometimes one job may be more fun and less stressful than the other one. So I think that you could probably fit yourself into some sort of bubble that could be really beneficial to the guys you're racing with. So good luck with that.
I appreciate it.
Talk about the sim as well. Being that you're part of the racing industry, and as someone that's been kind of watching IndyCar racing since the early mid 80s, that's how I'm dating myself now. One of the things that you see teams come and go because of money, and one of the things that the teams didn't really like to do was all this testing just to get up to speed. How much of a cost-saving measure and how real sims are now, not only with just the realism with the software, but now you talked about you're going to have probably some of these sim manufacturers, equipment manufacturers at the show. The level of sim gear is almost second to what you see in a race car these days.
Mm-hmm.
I could talk about specifically my Gomez Sim Industry wheel. People will look at it and they go, "Are you an actual racer?" Like, no, I just like playing computer games. And people might might squinch their eyes a little bit to say, "Oh, it's not a game," but. It's still some of this gear is almost second to only what is in the cars for real life,
Exactly.
and it's a great cost saving measure.
It is. It's a huge cost saving measure. And the barrier to entry is so low too. You can go from just having your PC for $100, maybe less, and at least get going, and work your way up to they have the rigs that move, and they have the hydraulics. But then on the practice side, the experience that you can get and the time in a seat that you can get just at your house or remote is second to none as well. There's no track time. You're not wasting money. I shouldn't say wasting. You're not spending money on tires and things of that nature. It's awesome to see what sim racing has brought into the on-site racing.
What are you guys hoping to get out of the relationship here now with the Hoosier 500 and attaching your name to it? It certainly is starting to become a crown jewel level event, not only in the IndyCar racing community and iRacing, but in iRacing in general. What are you guys hoping to get out of this, and what are maybe some of your plans that PRI might have for partnering with the Hoosier 500 in the future?
So, and it's whenever it came to about, it was me and Ryan just talking, and the title sponsorship was open, and we were able to make it happen. But it really kind of coincides with our president, Mike Good. We have really been focusing on the future, the workforce, and the future, the next gen of the racing industry, and a lot of them are very tech savvy. Sim racing is a big part of what they're doing. So the integration there, I think, would be a one point where I could see us really coming together on and bringing that next gen of racers into the industry. But really, it was a local company, a local family almost company that shares a border with us in Indiana, and it just made sense that we come together and sponsor the event. I don't think there was really a goal at the time of this is what we want to do with the event. It was more of let's do this and let's see where this thing goes.
Next week is your big show. We've talked about that. What is the outlook on the scope and size of it? And might there be any? I'm sure there are big names that are going to be there. I believe I saw Indianapolis Motor Speedway staff is going to be there. I'm sure who's who in the industry is going to be there. Do you have any key speakers? Anybody that is going to show up that you'd like to talk about?
So it's a great question. On Thursday morning, 6:30 a.m. the doors open for our grand opening breakfast. 7:30 is whenever it starts, but our keynote speaker for this year is none other than Mario Andretti. So he will be there. I'm very excited to hear what he has to say and open up about and from his history and stories. I'm sure it's going to be something that you don't want to miss. As far as the scope goes, so realistically, we're probably looking at anywhere close to 30,000 attendees, but then once you add in exhibitors and booth staff, you're looking anywhere from 30 to 50,000 attendees at the show. So it's gearing up to be a big one. We break records on square footage for the show this year. Exhibitors this year is looking to be one of the biggest PRI shows in history. And
you'll be in the convention center and Lucas Oil, right?
That's correct. Yep. So Lucas Oil is actually where the sim arena is located, as well as the entire Indianapolis, the Colts football field is full of our trailers and rigs. So it's a really awesome sight to see if you've never gotten to lay eyes on it. Yeah, I'm just trying to put things in scale for people. They're going to fill the entire playing field at Lucas Oil, which that never mind the stands. I think it seats like 70,000 people. I think close to 70. Yeah, it's at a mammoth building. I used to park next to it when I worked downtown at Rolls-Royce. So I realize that's a massive building, but the convention center is absolutely massive as it is, and you could fill the convention center and the playing field at Lucas Oil. I wish I could attend. I think I want to say that it's 1.1 million square feet is the total coverage of the show. So it feels the walking and it's kind of forgotten once you're on site. People are in such a good mood. Business is happening. The exhibitors are connecting with the customers that maybe they haven't ever met before, but they've been working with for 10 plus years. And then also the education side of things, the schools have been kind of coming in groves as well. I think last year we had over 118 institutions come out. And we had one school, UNOH, had over 400 students alone from their school show. So,
well, again, thanks for being the title sponsor of today's race. And as someone that's done a big show like you have, you're on your feet all day on big square footage and, thousands and thousands and thousands of people there. I realize you have a ton of work next week ahead of you. So best of luck with that. But thank you and the PRI for just being a part of the event, being the title sponsor. And we really look forward to everything that maybe we could do in the future, not just this year, but future PRI Hoosier 500s to come. Thank you very much. Any other final shout-outs, anything you want to say before we let you go and get on with the rest of your night?
Well, first, thanks for having me. Shout out to the Indy office. I'm sure that most of them are tuning in right now, so I appreciate you guys tuning in to listen. And like he said earlier, if you guys are watching, anybody out there watching, the best way to support is to subscribe to the channel, leave a like. I know that goes a long way with these kinds of things. And then also for all of the teams that are watching right now, the racers that are part of teams, you guys do qualify to attend the show. So if you guys are a part of a racing team, a sim racing team, the individual membership is for you guys. We would love to have you at the show and to look at, possibly your next rig, meet with people in the industry. But other than that, I appreciate you guys' time and good luck on the rest of the night and good luck with the rest of the race.
Well, thank you. And this is Mike Conley, head of business memberships for Performance Racing Industry, who joined us here at 8:30 to 8:45. We want to thank you very much, and we will catch you hopefully again in the near future. Best of luck when the show hits next week.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. Have a good night.
Take care.
Wow. So you heard that. We can sign up. Well, you're part of a team. I guess I'm part of a team, but you can sign up if you want to.
There's a lot of good nuggets of information that we picked up there, more than I thought we actually would. So, I mean, I was just fascinated listening to him speak about all the different opportunities and stuff they have going on. So that's really great to hear. And every partner we have in this race and everything is given up quite a bit, knowing what exactly the legacy is going to be. So I think that's really great to hear. And it just shows that how what the extensive arms are for this race that grabs all sorts of different industries. So I think it's really awesome to hear that.
While we were in the interview, Ty Quilla goes the second fastest at 2:30.1, so he is back at the top of the charts like he was yesterday. Carmichael is still at third at 2:29.7. Paz watching right now on the racetrack, heading down the backstretch that separates two portions of the Brickyard Crossing Golf Course. He is currently fourth fastest, 2:29.785, identical to Carmichael. We got a couple of laps out there that are identical. We got Carmichael and Paz that are identical, and we also have Stouffer and Smith that are identical, and Frankenfeld and Wimley that are identical. That is the 3 decimal spots. This makes me wonder, though, that I think qualifications this weekend, if this is an indication that we got 3 sets of drivers with identical times, this weekend's qualification, you might not be able to afford to have a bad lap. You need to have 3 or 4 really consistent laps across the board. If you have one slip-up, I don't know. I mean, you got to think about how close everyone is on top of one another now. You don't see very many times 3 ties in the timesheets.
We talked about this before, Gary, that these lap times, it's going to be pretty much front noses versus, front noses crossing that finish line. And that's why we were talking about the tire heating before of what exactly it's going to take for you to get that speed that gets you consistent through all 4 laps. And if you lose a lot of speed on that 4th lap, that could be the call between making it as fast as you possibly can around all 4 corners or sliding your way through 3 and 4 and losing that time. So it's going to be very, very close towards the bottom of the field, I'm pretty sure.
Well, we have another driver interview. Not really a driver interview. He is one of the admins for the PRI Hoosier 500. It is Ryan Schuld. We will bring Ryan up into the booth here. Here is Ryan. Ryan, good to have you here. We know you're not participating, but you're out there getting some track time, maybe some screenshots with the PRI Hoosier 500 car, maybe out there also to help your team out a little bit. But talk about we're 3 days into this thing after you guys have reacquired it. You got to be pleasantly happy that we have 34 cars have taken time, 35 once you cross the line. We got 37 drivers have registered for the session. 57 have taken a lap, one form or another, since we've opened practice. 128 have signed up. You got to be feeling pretty good.
Yeah, overall the engagement just across the board has been really good. I know there's some teams, some guys who aren't wanting to show their hand yet, which I certainly understand, but to have 30 plus guys clocking times every day so far has been really good. We couldn't be happier with how things have started.
How exactly do you think that the best strategy for qualifying is going to be here? Is it going to be just go full out and go all 4 of your laps, or is it going to be a little bit of a tire save mode, or what do you think is the key to making the field this race other than just nailing all 4 laps? Is it going to be a lot of mental stuff? Is it going to be a lot of preparation? What's your feeling for if you were to go qualify for this race? What's going through your mind based on what you have on your own setup?
Yeah, I mean, speaking, just chatting with the team, because some of the teammates are trying to make it, I think it's a blend of kind of two things. I think lap 4 is almost as important as lap 1. It's obviously not going to be as big, but the one thing that's different, we have the warm-up, which just adds an element. Official 500s don't have the warm-up on iRacing. Like Elite Racing League does do the warm-up, so that's just an element that most guys don't have to deal with throughout the year. So I think that's number 1. And then 2, how much tinkering do you really want to do versus just trying to perfect what you've got? So I think that's kind of the balance people are going to have to find out. That's what I know my teammates are working on. And we'll see which 33 make the big show.
How's it looking for your team? We haven't got a chance to really talk to members of your team, but you got 2 bona fide 500-mile race winners from the Elite Racing League that are in your ranks. How's everyone feeling?
Yeah, I think we're feeling okay. I mean, Gary, you know this at least. We're not typically big open setup. That's just not what we've kind of done a lot of work in, to be honest. So that part's definitely new. That's why we kind of partnered with 40 Racewear. They do a lot more of the open stuff. So we've been working with them for the last weeks, months, trying to find the right setup. And I think we're all relatively confident that if we get in the show that they can have a shot if they're there at the end. So all our focus is on just making it. Though at the moment we haven't touched a thing race related for a lot of reasons, including the hybrid coming in like 5 days. So
talk about kind of what you as one of the admins and promoters and planners of this, thoughts of the week starting off, how you feel about things so far, and what do you hope to see gain here in the next 2 days, going the Fast Friday. Then of course we have Swift Penguin Creations qualification weekend. Then we'll set the field of 33, and then we'll have 2 more days of practice after the field of 33 is set. But there's a lot of activities that we have going on for the, I almost said month of May, but month of December, so to speak.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on, and I've got to give Tanner a big shout out. He's the expert on this side of this, and my quote unquote expertise was just finding the right partners to join with us to get you and your team on board from the broadcasting perspective, help getting PRI on board as the sponsor, etc. The operational side is very much Tanner's bread and butter, and he's been great so far. I'm helping in every way I can, but we do have a lot of things coming up, a lot of activity that's going to be a little stressful for some of the drivers with qualifying, but also a lot of fun. Even the Freedom 100 pit stop competition we'll do before the big race, stuff like that to make sure everyone's having a good time. And obviously 33 are going to be extra happy, but everyone who's here, we want to make sure they have a good experience.
There's a lot that goes into all sorts of the compilation of this, so it's really great to see that there are people that are trying to move into the whole Freedom 100 and the support races. It's really making it seem like a real Indy event. So
Yeah,
it's great. It's great to see all the signups and everything that have gone into that. So I'm sure that you guys are very proud of that and keeping this legacy going.
yeah. I mean, don't quote me on the number, but I think we're at like 60 that signed up for the Freedom. So
Ooh.
that's going to be even a fun challenge for people making that race. So, yeah, it's cool to have so much buy-in. I mean, it's not possible without, you guys being in the booth, without the 128 guys who signed up to make this all a reality. So it's a real big, just iRacing IndyCar community event. Tanner and I might put the show on per se, but it's not possible without everybody else being involved. So it's been a lot of fun.
I was getting ready to ask, how much better are you going to sleep following the 14th? I know that I'm pretty stressed going into this myself. How much better are you going to sleep come the 14th there?
Yeah, I will enjoy some sleep for sure. Helping Tanner do all of this. I have a 4-month-old at home, so sleep in general is not exactly great at the moment. So I will definitely enjoy it once we get past the race. But I'm also enjoying everything that we're doing right now. I mean, qualifying is going to be 2 long days, but I think it's going to be 2 of the most, fun days of the year. Tanner and I manning all the tracking of the times and stuff for like 10 hours both days or whatever it is. It's definitely going to be tiring, but I think we're both also really looking forward to it. Things are going to be really, really tight on who gets in and who unfortunately does not. And
I agree with you. I think it will be. I think it will be extremely tight. The tolerances and the narrow margins will be extremely thin.
Yep, it certainly will. I know on Little Eagle Racing side, they're all a little stressed about it, and I'm sure we are not the only ones. So, fortunately, unfortunately, only the 33 quickest will get in the show, and it's going to be a lot of fun to see how that unfolds.
Before we let you go, just give you the mic. This is your show. You're paying for it. So anything you want to say, shout outs, friends, family, sponsors, anything like that, go right ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I've got to thank PRI. Mike, I know he was watching. Hopefully he still is. Busy guy, though. He's got a lot going on. If you're still listening, couldn't thank you and PRI enough just for being a part of this. It's been so fun. We're really enjoying it, and I believe you guys are too. So wouldn't be possible without you guys and every partner we've got, top down. Visitor Watch Company, you're going to see some news on a custom watch specific to the PRI show this year. That's going to be a lot of fun. Cusick Morgan Motorsports, I know they're watching. They've reposted the top 10 speeds each day on their socials, so thank you to them. But every partner we've got, that's really what makes this possible, and that includes the teams winner of the race. That includes you guys in the booth. So really, I don't have enough time to thank everybody, but everyone knows who's helping make this possible, and we could not do it without those folks, so couldn't thank everybody enough.
Well, thanks a lot, Ryan. Thanks for popping in and being in the lounge and allowing us to bring you on up. I know you got a lot of work ahead of you still, so best of luck, and I know we'll talk again soon.
Yep, thank you guys. Thank you so much for what you're doing.
Yeah, thanks, Ryan.
Riding with Enrique as he is coming to pit road right now, currently 27th fastest, as a lot of drivers are starting to kind of hang it up for the evening. Not Ty Quilla. He's still out there turning laps. He is right behind Joshua Huffing, who was among one of the fastest on the opening day. So there's a lot of pace here. Maybe see a Marco lap here late in the day. Nope, not quite. 230.6 for Ty, but not an overall purple lap. Well, I guess we're in our last couple of minutes here of coverage for day 3. Andrew, we got a chance to listen to a lot of interviews, and that kind of kept us quiet here in the second half of this hour. But final thoughts here before we wrap it up. What have you seen? What are you thinking? What do you think about coming in tomorrow now? As now we're 3 days into this, and speeds are now starting to tick off in the 230 neighborhood. But we kind of heard that the 2:30 lap that Seb did yesterday was kind of definitely a Marco lap to get himself on the front page of those a lot of the social media coverage, and it worked for him. But what are you thinking about as now we're getting closer to Fast Friday?
I was actually trying to look to see if there's any packs running during these interviews too, and it seemed like tonight might have been a big, let's just go out and do like a qualifying run kind of night. There may have been some guys that were running a race setup and just seeing how their car handles, perhaps in clean air, maybe getting behind one or two cars in dirty air, but not a lot of track action for our broadcast tonight. But I think that we're going to start to see a little bit more of that action as we progress later in the week. But I think a lot of these guys have started to really figure their stuff out, and we're getting closer and closer to that qualifying day where it's all going to matter, and you got to start preparing your mental game and everything like that. So I think we're really on the right track here to start kind of like buttoning up all the loose ends and taking it from there. So we'll see what happens.
It always still strikes me, though. I've seen the quote. I've heard him talk about it. The second all-time in IndyCar wins, Scott Dixon. I think someday he still will beat A.J. Foyt's record, but he's right now second all-time. But for a man with one Indy 500 win, six IndyCar championships, and he's closing on 60 career IndyCar wins, when he comes out and says that the 4 laps, the 10 miles, the 16 turns to qualify at Indianapolis is the most stressful thing for him, and then we equate that to what these guys are going to feel on Saturday, getting these qual runs out of the way. I can imagine these qual runs today, and for some of these drivers, they're starting to feel that level of stress. And when a real driver feels that level of stress, you can only imagine kind of what these guys here are feeling. So more laps, more time. We still have more time. We still have practice tomorrow and then Fast Friday over on the Elite Racing Network. Those are the next 2 days, and more practice still to come. We'll give everyone back their Wednesday nights now. Get on out of here. But we want to thank everybody for joining us, and definitely want to thank all the sponsors, which we will do here in just a second. But let's get on out of here and give everyone back their Wednesday nights. So that's it for tonight. Once again, your fastest 3 so far for day 3 of today at the 500 and Acres Lawn Services practice week. Adam Blocker with a speed of 2:31.1. Not the fastest of the month, but the fastest of the day. Dyquilla again up in the top 3 as we round out this session at a 2:30.6. And Michael Carmichael for the second time this month up in the top 3 at the 2:29.7. Join us tomorrow night right here on P1 as practice again resumes with day 4 of practice leading up to this weekend's qualification for the PRI Hoosier 500. Coverage begins around 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Again, that's 8:00 p.m. Eastern Time. And remember, for the correct broadcast time in your area, you can find everything right here at YouTube at youtube.com/P1 Broadcasting. Now, as you know, the YouTube algorithm game's not an easy one, so please help support P1 with the weekly grind. Leave a comment below. Let us know you thought of tonight's stream. And if you enjoyed tonight's coverage, support us by smashing like in the video. If you're new, click subscribe, and while you're at it, hit the bell for weekly reminders so don't miss out on more of P1's other iRacing programming. Today's coverage is brought to you by the performance racing industry since 1986. Performance racing industry has been the motorsports industry's trusted source for trends, new products, merchandising ideas, and business strategy with the world's premier racing trade show next week in an award-winning monthly magazine. PRI keeps the global racing community on the cutting edge. Visit performanceracing.com to learn more. Acres Lawn Services develops detailed, focused landscaping and maintenance across greater Knoxville, Tennessee area. Reliable, timely, and tailored to your needs. To learn more, you want to hit them up at acreslawnservices.com. Today at the 500, sponsored by Oil and Gas Safety Supply. Oil and Gas Safety Supply serves workers across Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Virginia with affordable, flame-resistant workwear and safety gear. Open 7 days a week. Their expert staff stays ahead of industry regulations to keep you compliant and protected. Visit oilgassafetysupply.com. Swift Penguin Creations is your one-stop shop for unique, personalized gift, perfect for any occasion. From fun, vibrant stickers and magnet bookmarks to beautifully engraved, items, we specialize in creating high-quality, thoughtful products that bring a smile to you and whoever you're giving it to, their face as well. Visit SwiftPenguinCreations.com. Simperior builds affordable, reliable sim racing hardware created by racers for racers. Passion-driven gear designed with real track experience. Visit Superior.com. I want to thank the guys at New Track Record. New Track Record is a weekly show where Caleb Hatch and Justin Kinney bring you the real-world latest news from the world of IndyCar racing. Download New Track Record today on iTunes and Spotify, and follow them on X at IndyCar Podcast. That's all you need to do. And also want to thank Visitor Watch Company for sponsoring our timing and scoring. They craft truly original art-driven timepieces from a blank page, offbeat, distinctive, and instinctively familiar. Explore the collection of Visitor Watch Company coming. Finally, we want to thank Anderson Speedway and experience their thrills at the historic Anderson Speedway in 2026. Visit the iconic home of the Little 500 and Red Bud 400. Get tickets today for AndersonSpeedway.com. For business inquiries and learn more about P1 and what we do, like us on Facebook. You can follow us on X and Instagram. You can follow all of our social links on Linktree. For more information on the PRI Hoosier 500, go to thehoosier500.com. All the links you need are in the description. There you go. That's what makes it possible here on P1 here in the PRI Hoosier 500. So for Andrew Wood, everyone here at P1, PRI, and the Hoosier 500 event staff, I'm Gary Gotzo saying all good night and thanks for watching. And all of our men and women serving in the military and as first responders, Godspeed, God bless, and come home safe. Catch us again right here tomorrow for day 4 of practice for the world's greatest sim race, the PRI Hoosier 500, right here on P1. Good night, everybody.